Hi guys, this is Elisa with Fusion DIY. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I take items that I find in a thrift store, flea markets, and in yard sales, and I will take them home and I will repaint them, I will repurpose them, and then what I'll do is resell them in my booth located in the Pickers Junction, 141 East Broad Street in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would hope that you would consider doing that and giving this video a thumbs up. But let's get into the projects, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Our first project today is a little bench that I picked up at the Habitat Restore last week, and I will link that video down in the description box below for you to see it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a sand because I wanted to get the shiny off of this piece of wood so that the paint would have something to adhere to. Aside from a few water stains here and there, the bench was in excellent condition and it is very, very sturdy and very well made. So for $2 that I paid for this bench, it was definitely worth it. Now I'm going to use Country Chic paint in the color Tide Pool, and this is a new color. I've never used it before. I can tell you that I really do love the Country Chic paint line. The paint is very creamy and it's got excellent coverage. You can see that with the first coat, it pretty well covered the wood the first time around. There wasn't a whole lot of additional coats that I needed, and I really do love this paint. Once the paint was dry, I went back and I gave it just a quick second coat just to get some of the brush strokes out and give it an overall cohesive look all the way around. Now I know that there are some of you who do not paint the bottoms of their projects. In this particular case, I am going to paint the bottom of it because if somebody takes it and puts it in their car upside down, I don't want them to be disappointed that the bottom isn't painted. I let the paint dry overnight, and then the following night I came back and I grabbed the IOD Transfer Collage de Fleurs, and I am cutting out some of the cabbage roses that I am going to put onto this piece. These transfers are absolutely beautiful, and truly what you see is what you get. They are extremely easy to use. They don't require a whole lot of work. You just simply peel off the transfer, you lay it down where you want to, and then you take your transfer tool that comes with each pack of transfers that you purchase, and you simply rub on the transfer. Now, if you start to peel back the vellum and you find that some of your transfer has not adhered to your project, then you're going to lay the vellum back down, go back over the transfer once again, and it should adhere. Very, very simple, and they really do make your project shine. Once that was done, I went and I grabbed some wording from the spring release. There was another spring release that IOD had, and I can't remember the name of the transfer pack at the moment, but I pulled out this little saying about roses, and I thought it would be fun just to adhere that as well. Once I finished that, I thought I wanted to add some leaves to the bench as well. So I cut out a few from that same transfer set, and I'm going to just add a few of the leaves to the bench. And here is the finished project. Isn't it pretty? Didn't it turn out great? I really do love that country chic paint, and the transfers just pop all against this blue, and I think it's just awesome. For project 2, I picked up this little frame at a nearby church thrift store. I believe I paid 50 cents for it, and I'm using some of the ephemera melange transfers, but I really couldn't find anything that suited me out of that transfer set. So I went back to the Christmas release and I found one that I thought would match very well with the frame. I'm going to need to adhere my transfer onto something, so I'm cutting out a piece of cardboard using the backing of the frame as my guide, and I'm scoring the cardboard with my X-Acto knife, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut out that piece of cardboard. Now I want to make sure that my transfer will fit on the cardboard without cutting too much of the transfer away and making sure it's squared. So I am trimming the transfer just a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it against the cardboard just to make sure that it is going to fit properly. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to match the backing to the picture frame itself. So I painted the backing, and once that is dry, then I'm going to give it a second coat, and I'm going to then put my transfer onto that backing. Once I put the transfer on, I put the picture back into the frame and sealed up the back, and here it is hanging in my kitchen. It's a very subtle, very subdued piece, but I really do think it turned out lovely. For project 3, I picked up this wall pocket at the Habitat Restore. I believe I paid $1 for it, and as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. So here I am going to give it a coat of Country Chic paint in the color Simplicity. Then I came back and I gave the entire piece a second coat of Country Chic paint. I also then gave the handle on both sides a coat of paint as well. I let that piece dry for about 2 hours, and then I came back and I added some Mod Podge to the front, and I am going to use a very pretty dinner napkin that I picked up at the grocery store on the front of this wall pocket. Now you may recall seeing this napkin. I used it in a project prior to this. It was a wicker basket that I painted white and then I covered in this napkin. When I decoupage, I don't press hard. All I do is I tamp my hand down on the piece so that I don't run the risk of tearing any of the napkin while it's wet from the Mod Podge. Once the Mod Podge was dry, I used a piece of sandpaper in a downward motion to get all the excess napkin off of the piece, and it gave me a very clear line. And then I went back over the wall pocket with another coat of Mod Podge just to give that napkin some protection. Once that was done, I grabbed a piece of foam from my stash, and I'm going to put that into the wall pocket, and then I'm going to start to add some floral to the wall pocket. This is lavender that you can pick up at Walmart, and typically what I do is I will take a stem and I will cut it, and then rather than having one very long piece, I have two shorter pieces then that I can put into the wall pocket. It saves me a little bit of money while I'm crafting, and it makes my product go a little bit further. When I was finished adding the floral, I threw in some Spanish moss just to give it more of a wispy feel to it and to hide any of the foam that might be visible. And here it is, hanging in my kitchen. Do you remember this guy? I picked him up at the Habitat Restore, and I knew that I could give him a whole new look. He had great bones. He just needed a little bit of a paint job. So the first thing that I did was I gave him a very much needed bath. Because he had a very slick and shiny surface, I took my sandpaper and I gave him a good sanding so that my paint would have something to adhere to, and then once again I gave him a wipe down. I'm using Dixie Belle's soft pink and cotton, and I'm going to mix those two colors together to get the desired color that I want for this pig. Initially I was going to use just the soft pink, but I felt like it was too much of a pink, so I needed to tone it down a little bit with the white. Of course, if you have a piggy that you want to paint, you can do whatever color you like for him. I just happen to like a pale pink. The pink in the can is actually the color of the pig. I just had my ring light on, I think a little too high, and it was bleaching out the color of the pig as I painted him. But he is definitely a pink pig, not a white pig. I gave the pig 2 coats of paint, and then I took my chisel brush, and for the final coat of paint that I'm going to give him, I'm actually going to stipple the paint onto the pig, and this will do 2 things. It will give the pig some texture, and it will also cover over any of the brush strokes that might have dried that way after the second coat was completed. Now it's time to give this guy some personality. I'm using some apple barrel craft paint and a paintbrush, and I'm using the back end of a paintbrush this time around, and I'm just going to tap my end of the paintbrush into the paint, and I am going to give him some eyes. And then when that was done, I gave him some nostrils, and I gave him a little bit of a smile on his face. He is happy to be a pink piggy again. Once that was done, I gave him 2 coats of polyurethane, and I let them dry in between coats, and I am going to call this little piggy finished, and he's going to find a home in my booth. And here he is for the moment on my mantle. So I hope you enjoyed those projects. Which one was your favorite? If you enjoyed this video, again, please hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell. I appreciate you joining me today, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. Thanks so much for watching.